Logan here. Thank you for joining us tonight for the latest ChronoLogic live stream. We'll be going over why someone would want to be a time node. So we're going to go over some reasons and the benefits of running a time node and what you can do both today to start running time nodes on the Coven test network and what you'll be able to do in the future to run the time node on the main net. So just so I know everybody can hear me all right, could you put a 1 in the question box? Cool, cool. All right, so it looks like everything is good. Thanks, by the way, thank you everyone for coming out to the live stream, and let's go to the next slide. So to begin with, let's go over some of the dev updates we have. So the development team has been busy for the last 2 weeks doing some major overhauls to the EAC.js libraries. These libraries are the lower level Ethereum alarm clock libraries that we use in both the DApp as well as the command line. So they form kind of the core of a lot of what we do. And we recently went through and for the client library, rewrote it in TypeScript. So for those of you who might not be familiar, TypeScript is similar, is a superset of JavaScript with the added features of types, which can give us better security guarantees for compiling our code. So it just enforces stricter and better code quality. So we also did some work to the command line as well. Most of that was refactoring, so we made it much more modular and extensible. So one of the goals of these libraries is to allow developers to write their own tools to interact with the alarm clock. And we hope that the work we've been doing to the command line will make that much more developer friendly. We've also have written over 80 tests for the client. So since we're anticipating to go to the main net very soon with the alarm clock, we're just covering all of our bases here and making sure that something as important as the core logic for the time node is well tested and bug free.
Very cool, Logan. This is Sean Morgan, the community manager for ChronoLogic, and I had a question for you about the all of these libraries and everything. If you know, Ethereum Classic, which is based on the original Ethereum code, or like EOS, which I guess is built on top of Ethereum as well. Once these blockchains decide they want to get into scheduling, do you think they will be able to use these types of tools to build out some scheduling things?
Yeah, so with EOS it might be a bit different because that's actually not the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. It's a separate virtual machine, and I'm actually not so familiar with EOS, so I can't speak too much to that. But as far as Ethereum Classic goes, all of these tools are as applicable to Ethereum Classic as well.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing people access our GitHub and create things based on what we have available.
Yeah, me too. All right, so since we'll be talking about the time node today, I wanted to just again do a quick refresher about the differences between the Ethereum alarm clock and the Chronos protocol. So both the Ethereum alarm clock and Chronos have a time node. But these are two separate protocols. The Chronos is the next generation smart contract automation platform. It can do temporal scheduling as which is what the alarm clock does, but it is a different protocol. It is a completely separate protocol. And the main feature in the Chronos protocol that distinguishes it from the Ethereum alarm clock is the conditional scheduling. So this is what allows users to schedule transactions, which will watch the state of other contracts and then react and do actions based off of other things that happen. And these are composable, so you can deploy scheduled transactions which will build on other scheduled transactions.
Yeah, conditional scheduling is going to be a game changer, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely, I do think so. I think conditional scheduling is, um, I think it'll unlock a lot of use cases that right now people are wanting, and it'll let people do it on chain.
Yeah, in fact, if the community who's present want to just name some use cases that they can imagine for conditional scheduling, that'd be cool to get your thoughts. In the meantime, let's go over some of the regular use cases for scheduling.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, if anyone who's watching wants to put a use case that they've thought of into the question box, uh, we will we will read that out live. So some of the general use cases for scheduling transactions. So the big use case are ICO contributions. So since the beginning, we've been talking about this, and just the general idea is that ICOs, when they open, there's a lot of demand. Depending on the time zone that you're located in, it might be different than the time zone the ICO opens in, and it might be a time that's very inconvenient for you. So using the alarm clock, you are able to schedule a transaction to purchase these tokens for you, and then later when you wake up the next day or when you get home from vacation or whenever you're available, you're able to come and claim these tokens from the transaction which bought them for you on your behalf. And then there's a ton of use cases besides this. So there's HR payments and processes. So the one here is, let's say you manage a team and you pay them in crypto, maybe you pay them in the DAI stablecoin, and you pay them their salary once a month. So you can schedule a transaction to take place on the first of the month and pay the salaries to your employees. And this transaction can even schedule another transaction, which will do the same thing in another month. And you can have this continue until you tell the contract to stop or until it runs out of funds. Um, so so this is a way to on-chain automate uh, crypto payments, which happen periodically.
Yeah, I
So
can see a lot of crypto companies paying their employees this way. And as we transition globally from fiat currency to more of a decentralized model, this could really be an important part of the infrastructure.
yeah, for sure. Um, I agree with you 100%. I think this makes it really convenient for anyone who needs to worry about payroll or other administrative things like that. So similarly, there's subscriptions as well, which have this payment that happens periodically. So the way subscriptions work now is that you uh, give a service provider your credit card and they take the payment every month. Instead, you can schedule a transaction and then give that transaction approval to uh, take the money to send the money from your wallet to the service provider in a month or whenever that payment is, and you can have that happen periodically.
Yeah,
So
this is going to be huge when we get to the crypto version. So what would you say is the crypto version?
so the crypto version might be a little bit different. So you can do the same kind of same idea uh, in crypto, but with crypto you can do even cooler things like have the subscription. If you cancel it at any time, you only pay for the time that you used it for, down to like a very small granularity of time. So even down to like the second,
Hmm.
you can pay small uh, payments down to as little as a second.
That's really cool. That's touches on the whole proof of time concept that we're interested in with ChronoLogic.
Yeah, yeah, definitely it does. And so to round off the use cases, the reason we're doing this is because it promotes trustlessness and decentralization. So all these processes happen using trusted providers now, and using the alarm clock or possibly one day Chronos, you will be able to do these operations on chain and trustlessly.
Yeah, you said currently it's done with trusted people, but we can't really trust the trusted people, can you?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. The trusted people could always become not untrusted.
Right.
All right, so okay, so the time node. So the time node is so there's two sides of the uh, alarm clock market. There's the schedulers, and then there's the time nodes. So the time nodes are the executioners of these scheduled transactions. What they are pieces of code which will watch for these transactions and then compete to execute them. And through incentive mechanisms, uh, we're able to get this property of decentralization because it's incentivized for people to run a time node, as well as it's free and open to run a time node as well. So the main reason for running a time node is to earn the rewards from executing these scheduled transactions. Um, Paid in Ether, they are set by the scheduler, and when a time node executes a transaction, they will be rewarded with this bounty payment.
Yeah, that's pretty attractive when you compare it to like mining, for example, where you need, dedicated equipment and there's a lot of startup costs. It's pretty easy to get started to be a time node to earn ETH.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a ton of competition for mining, um, especially the major coins. Um, to start mining profitably is very hard to do, I think, today. So this would be a way with a kind of a lower overhead to kind of a similar thing. So besides earning this ether payment, um, you get the satisfaction of participating in the ChronoLogic ecosystem. So as a time node, you are contributing to so you're contributing executions, which will be uh, saving other people headaches and making their lives more convenient. So you get the satisfaction of doing that, as well as knowing that you are part of the ChronoLogic community. So you also get the first-hand experience of the scheduling demand. So you'll be able to see how many people are scheduling new transactions, and you'll be able to see how many executions that your time node is doing.
Yeah, I
You'll
see that
also
as a benefit because, some people might be watching ChronoLogic from a distance and they don't really know what's going on. But when you're participating at this kind of intimate level, you can get some data that other people don't have access to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's always great when when someone is participating in the network, and if later we'll show you how to run a time node, and if you run a time node, we'd love to hear about it in the Telegram community channel as well. Um, so yeah, so the protocol is open source. So if you are running a time node, you are helping an open source project as well. And the last point is that you are using your day holdings. So to run the time node in a browser, you need to have 333 day or a time it, and you will be able to use your day holdings in this way.
Yeah, I think the open source thing is cool that you can actually help us find bugs. And as far as the day token holdings, like why not become a time node? If you have over 333 day or you have a time mint, I mean, it's almost like you're just losing potential value by not running a time node.
Okay, Sean, you want to take this slide?
Sure. So as we said, it's not like mining where you need some kind of fancy dedicated equipment. All you need is a laptop or a smartphone. We have two ways of doing this. One is in a browser. You can use Chrome or Firefox, and someone on our team has successfully done the Cypher browser on mobile. And then you would need a MetaMask extension for that. Or you could also do what we have is an Electron dApp. For Mac, Linux, or Windows, you basically just download an executable file from our GitHub, and you can run a desktop application. So all you need, 333 day tokens or a time mint and a little bit of ETH, and you can get started. So now we're going to go into the demo to show you how to prove day ownership in a test environment. We're not on the mainnet yet, so we want to show you guys how to get familiar on the Kovan test network and then be ready to go once we go to mainnet, once the security audit is complete. So here we're at app.chronologic.network, and this is where you can actually schedule transactions to be sent for the future on the Kovan test network. You can do that by the block on the blockchain, or you can do it by a time window, like a 5-minute time window. So you can do this with ETH or ERC20 tokens. And so we're going to show you how to do the time node part. So if you just go to app.chronologic.network/timenode and you click on this My Crypto link, My Crypto will require users to go through an educational process to prove that they understand the security aspects. I already went through that, so I won't have to do that. Just click on Create New Wallet and Generate Key Store File. Then you create a secure password. put it in twice. Click on Create New Wallet. Then click on Download Key Store File. That'll automatically go to your Downloads folder. Go back to app.chronologic.network/TimeNode. Click on Select Wallet File. Open the file you just downloaded and click on the black Unlock button. Now we're going to prove that we do own Day. So we're going to click on the link here, which takes us to My Crypto again. And now we're going to connect with MetaMask. So you can see I'm already running MetaMask extension in my Chrome browser. And they require that we put in a nickname. You can put in any word. Click on Sign Message. It will automatically connect to MetaMask. Click on Sign. You can see the green successful signed message notification. Scroll down and copy this signature. Go back to the DApp and paste it here in the right. Then scroll down a little bit, click on the Verify button. Enter the password you created before. Click on the black Unlock button. And then you can click on Start. And we are successfully running a test time node. Now, some things that you'll need to do beforehand is get some test ETH and test day. You can do that at our faucet here. Just click on this black Get Testnet Day button. You'll connect to MetaMask, and you can add the contract address to make sure that the day tokens are showing up here by clicking on Add Token. We have a whole tutorial on our blog, and there will be a video tutorial as well.
Sean, before you return to the presentation, could you maybe show the just really quick show the logs of the time node, like unlock the account and see what it's printing out.
Sure. Okay, clicking on logs.
Yeah, so so in the logs you'll be able to see what your time node is doing.
Scanning every 15 seconds.
Yep. So you'll be able to see that it's scanning the blockchain, and you'll be able to see when it finds new scheduled transactions to execute, which it'll do periodically because we're testing with the same network. So you might be executing some of our transactions that we're sending, and if you are, that's great. We encourage everyone to run time nodes. If you're feeling unsure about it, don't just do it.
Yeah, I mean, if I can do it, I'm not a technical person, but I just walked through it in a couple of minutes. There are some potential challenges along the way, but if you follow the tutorial on the blog, you should have all the resources you need. Let's go into some of the frequently asked questions. So Logan, is it possible to have more than one time node run at the same time?
So this is a question that we get pretty often, and usually people who ask it, they might mean two different things. So some people ask whether they can run two time nodes which are separate time nodes entirely. They use separate wallets and their separate addresses. So the answer to this is yes. You can run as many time nodes with as many wallets as you'd like. Granted that you have the day holdings to do this. Um, and then the other question people ask when they ask this is whether they can run multiple instances of the same time node. So some people would like to run the time node on multiple computers or multiple servers in case one goes offline. They want a second one uh, to be online. So this is possible as well. It's not recommended, um, but it is possible to do that. So the answer
Yeah,
to this question is yes.
yes, yes, and yes. And it's probably a good idea to have a backup. You know, if you have your desktop version, you can always have your browser version as a backup. Okay, the other question people ask is, can I run a time node on a smartwatch or some other type of light device? And I think I know the answer to this one, which is we don't know yet because we haven't experimented with it. But if it would be possible to get MetaMask on a browser, or maybe at some point there's an evolution in the way MetaMask does things, um, just experiment with it and let us know. And we'd like to share that with the community.
Yeah, my answer to this question would be if you can, if you know someone who can, we would like to know about it.
Great. So as it stands right now, is there an advantage to having a time mint in all of this situation?
So currently a time int is treated as equal to the 333 day as far as running the browser time node.
Okay.
So I guess the advantage would be you don't need to hold the day tokens if you have a time int um, to
Yeah,
run the time node.
actually, that's a good point. That sometimes you don't want to have your private key to your token holdings, exposed or whatever. So that would be a nice advantage. And then potentially we could incorporate the time mint as as a piece of the puzzle, whether that be in claiming or some other development in the future. Is that right?
Yeah. There's possibilities for the time int. So for the Chronos claiming, uh, there might be a benefit for the time int for that.
Another question people have is, you know, what's the best way to claim the most transactions? With Chronos, it involves staking your day tokens potentially, but with Ethereum Alarm Clock, it doesn't work that way. So do you have any recommendations or best practices for being a successful time node?
My advice would be to have solid infrastructure. So with the alarm clock, it doesn't use a claiming mechanism, and so the claims happen pretty much in the wild, and if someone sends a claim transaction after someone else, that transaction that sent second will be reverted and will cost that person, that time node that sent that transaction after someone else, it'll cost them some ether to pay for the gas of that transaction being reverted. So, so using the client libraries, the time node will first check the transaction pool, and then if there's no transactions being sent to the address of the scheduled transaction, it will then proceed with sending the transaction. So the only benefits I really see in this in the way that works is if someone has a really solid internet connection, or is running a local node versus running a remote node. There might be very small bandwidth differences that can be making a difference. But besides that, I would say that's the biggest thing there.
Yeah, probably having good hardware, good internet, and just running it all the time and running more than one so that you have a backup if one goes down. Um, yeah, okay. And also people ask about if there's a video that can explain exactly how to do what we just did today. And we do have that blog article with the screenshots that goes step by step. We also have a Spanish language tutorial that a community member made, and also an English one is coming out very shortly. And we'll be just updating this when we go to mainnet. You know, there will be new videos and new tutorials available. So it looks like we do have a question here. It says, if I run the dApp locally, I don't need MetaMask running all the time, and the node is still running if the browser is closed, correct?
So running the dApp locally, so I'm guessing that means running the Electron version of the dApp.
Yeah.
So with the Electron version of the dApp, you actually are not, you actually don't be, you aren't using MetaMask at all, and it creates a separate instance of a browser window which will be running the TimeNode for you. But you do need to keep this Electron instance running. It doesn't have to be visible on your desktop, but it does have to be running, at least minimized or in the
Yeah,
background.
and it's pretty light. I mean, I shouldn't interfere too much with their other stuff they're doing. Okay, another question. Can a time mint run a time node if it has 0 day tokens?
Yes. So if you have a time mint, you can use that instead of the day tokens.
Someone's asking, is there an advantage to having 666 day tokens?
You there is no advantage between having the 333 versus having more than that.
Okay, possibly in Chronos, there would be an advantage to staking more day.
Yeah,
But not,
definitely. So definitely in Chronos, there would be an advantage to having more a day.
and someone was bringing it to our attention that there's no update on GitHub for the EAC.js client. So we can send you a message about that privately. Okay, thank you for answering all of our questions, Logan. I think the community is really excited to get started. Once we go to mainnet, they can start earning some of these ETH bounties. I can't wait to get started myself. Anything else you wanted to share with the community before we sign off, Logan?
I think that about wraps it up. I'm very excited for this to reach the mainnet as well. And if anyone would like to try out running a time node, please let us know how your experience is in the Telegram community channel.
Great. Have a good day, guys.